Hi, this is The Greatest Story Ever Played. I'm Dan.
I'm Jordan.
And today we're going to be continuing The Walking Dead, A New Frontier with Ties That Bind Part 2.
Yep.
Which is the second episode in the season.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, again.
Yep. Cool. So after the explosive events of Ties That Bind Part 1, we pick up with Javier attempting to reassemble the broken pieces of the Garcia family. But with the weight of past decisions looming over them, Clementine, the Garcias, and their new allies are forced on the run. And as the new threat emerges, it won't just be Javier's past that comes to haunt the group. Who will you trust? Where will you find a safe haven?
Awesome. And this episode actually begins with a flashback. We've got a flashback to pre-apocalypse, seemingly a couple years before the apocalypse. Javi and Kate are talking while Kate is washing dishes. And while they're talking, we find out that Javier has been staying at David and Kate's place, and that Javi has recently got kicked out of the MLB. That he got caught for cheating, so it's pretty fresh.
For gambling.
Yeah, for gambling on the games. And so I think Javi's feeling pretty kind of embarrassed and sort of lost as to knowing what to do. Mm-hmm. And like a fuck up.
Yep. Very much so, yep.
Yeah, which is understandable. Like we talked about last time, I think there was probably some of a feeling or a view of like, Javi made it to pro baseball, like he could be a thing that could really change this family's future, sort of feel. And I think he probably felt some of that pressure as well. While him and Kate are talking, Javi talks about, Kate like asks what he's going to do, and Javi's like, I don't know, I'll probably just kind of run away of sorts, like I'll just go off and sort of find my way, go do whatever. And in this conversation, Kate says, we could run away together. And before this, she'd been kind of flirting with him beforehand. And she's like, take me with you. I want to come kind of thing. And you can tell Javi's pretty uncomfortable with this. Yeah. Or at least that's how I felt.
Yep, same. It's like, bro, you're like my brother's wife. Like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Kind of out there.
Yeah, it was strange. It doesn't seem like Javi has reciprocated this at all, like based on how this seemed here and how last week it seemed as well. Mm-hmm. So I kind of was like, no. Or like, didn't say something or said something negative. I didn't encourage it.
Yep. Same. Yeah, I definitely didn't play along with it. Mm-hmm. Because even in past episodes.
Right.
It's like, no. But especially now, like, not apocalypse.
Yeah.
Brother's wife, like, come on.
Right.
What do you expect?
Yeah, definitely questionable. But as they're talking, Kate ends up dropping a glass while she's washing the dishes, and it was this special military glass of David's. And David hears it, and he's like, what was that? And he comes in basically ready to fight, which seems to be David's demeanor.
Yeah. Not great.
Is just ready to argue and fight. And he comes in mad. He walks in and is like, oh, that was my favorite army glass, It's so meaningful, which I think it really was, but like he's being an asshole about it, and David and Kate Javi and Kate are both kind of like, oh, could we fix it? Is there anything we could do? David's not having it, he's just pissed. He's like, oh, are you gonna dig up my sergeant?
Yeah, like, come on, dude.
Yeah. And so this gives you kind of your first option, choice in the game, which is how did you deal with Kate and David's argument? So you basically have the option to fuel the flame or kind of stay out of it. So what did you do? I
stayed out of it. I think in line with like not giving into Kate's flirting and like I can see David's kind of out of line here, kind of extreme, whatever. But like Kate's also kind of extreme in her own way. It's like they got to work this out themselves. I'm not gonna get in the middle of their marriage. Maybe later, like one-on-one with David, I'll talk to him, or with Kate, like talk to her. But I would never get in the middle of an argument like this ever. So that's kind of my thought. Was just didn't make sense.
Right. Yeah. That was my viewpoint too. Of that. This seems like a fight. Like this seems to have lit off a fight that was already there, and we happen to be staying there right then. And we have our own issues and own, ways David probably views us and all of that. But, like, this doesn't seem about us, and I don't know that anything we do could really help.
Yeah, especially because Kate's already talking about like, oh, take me with you. It's like, all right, things seem kind of weird here. You need to figure this out with your fucking husband. Like,
Right.
that doesn't involve me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. We were in the slight minority here. 40% of people stayed out, like us. 60% of people got involved with it, though. And I guess in this, you tell David something along the lines of, you better figure your shit out, man. Kate's thinking about leaving you, or something like that. Which
Sucks.
I don't think that's your news to give,
Nope.
at all. So that seems like a especially weird way to intervene. But
Yeah, just also kind of like antagonizing. You're like, your wife's gonna leave you, dude, if you don't
right.
do better. Like, if he's already kind of angry, like, all right, I assume that'd be a fight. Like, I'm gonna fucking punch you.
Yeah. That's sort of my guess too. And by not staying in it, I think there's a part where he gets mad at you, and he sort of leaves it, and he's like, whatever, it's fine, it was an accident, and just kind of acts mad at you a little bit, but then leaves. So,
Cool.
yeah, whatever.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Oh, also, I guess I'll call this out now. I did ask the questions on Twitter, and I did get a couple responses, but I forgot to put them in the notes. So, my bad. The couple people that responded, yeah.
You mean the 30 people that responded?
Yeah.
We had the most feedback of all time for this episode.
God, that would be a huge fuck up.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I will include them next time for sure. I guess for 140 or 30 some episodes, for getting once, I feel pretty good about that.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So
Yeah.
I'll take that. But
Mad respect.
yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. Making a few years without forgetting is pretty good. But we all can forget, as we know now. But we switch to the present day. The way our episodes go here are different. So I'll talk about mine, and then we'll jump over to yours. So mine begins with Javi waking up at the junkyard. I think passed out maybe, and Clementine says that the Frontier had gotten away, the new Frontier, because we were in the middle of a gun battle when we left off last episode. And she lets us know that the group is called A New Frontier. She was like, oh, I know who these people are. I know who this group is. They're bad people, kind of thing. And while Javi was out, Clementine actually dug a grave for Mariana, which was cool of her. And we get to have like a little funeral for Mariana, bury her, and you actually like do it. Like you shovel the dirt, like similar to in season 2, I think, when you dig up the dog's grave. And then,
cool, yeah,
and then you bury the kid, right?
I
Or no, it's season 1. You bury the kid in the dog's outside the doghouse at that mansion.
Oh, yep.
It's the same thing. It's
Yep.
same idea, where the dead person's there, and then you do like the dirt thing like 3 times or something.
Oh, yep. I was thinking of the dog in season 2, where it bites you and you kill it or not.
Yeah. Ugh.
I don't want to think about that.
Yeah. No,
Thanks, man.
me either.
Well, you brought it up, so
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
I forgive you.
But you say a couple words for Mariana. It's nice that you could have a funeral for her, but Javi also feels really bad in this. Like, I think he feels pretty responsible. And the vibe I got from Javi here especially, and maybe some through the episode, but was like, I was supposed to do things right and this bad thing happened, so it's my fault. Like, going that sort of further step. If I hadn't fucked up, this wouldn't have happened, as opposed to this bad thing happened and I was around it, sort of thing. Like, he's personalizing it pretty hard. He's feeling it, which of course it's huge. It's super sad and all of that. But
yeah, but
he's blaming himself.
Yeah, but also unrealistic. Like, he didn't. I mean, we know from previous playthroughs, either way, she gets killed, and like, he didn't shoot her. He didn't do anything that got her killed, whatever. But yeah, so my story is different. So I end up going with Kate back to Prescott, and she gets like surgery with, I forget the doctor / nurse's name.
Eleanor.
Yeah, so she's like trying to get the bullet out. It's didn't go through. It's stuck in there. So then you can like, you're in there with Kate and her, and Kate's like freaking out. So instead of being with Clementine and waking up, you're there with Kate and trying to help her through this pretty traumatic surgery, and she ends up being fine. But that's kind of my route. Is you end up in Prescott, kind of skip all the stuff with Clementine.
Okay.
Eventually, Clementine shows up there, and you end up being with Trip and Conrad and all the normal people that you end up being with in the next section of this. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. You just were already there and were involved with the surgery.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so then for me, after we bury Mariana, Javi and Clem go back to Prescott. And at Prescott, Javi goes and checks on Kate. Kate's not doing great, but not doing terrible, I guess. The surgery seemed reasonably good.
Yeah, in my playthrough, I think similar. She seems fine, but she's fine, but she's definitely like not out of the woods.
Yeah,
I guess is the way I'd put it.
Yeah, that seems about right. In this too, going around town, Trip tells us we could stay if we want to, which was cool. You're like, all right, my guy.
Yep, I'll stay.
This is helpful.
That's my first thought. Was definitely.
Yeah, I think I told him I'd talk to Kate, but I was interested or something like that, which fit right. I didn't want to like make the decision without talking to Kate, but it seemed like the right move.
Yep.
And then Javi talks to Gabe, and Gabe's just pretty upset. I think he basically feels like in this situation, I don't know if it was the exact same for you, but for mine, I guess that Gabe was trying to help Kate during the surgery, and at one point he freaks out and runs away, that it's like too much for him.
Yeah, in my playthrough, you can like allow him to stay and help, or you can kind of send him away. And I think I sent him away because it was, I forget, it was like traumatic and it was like a real surgery. So you were like, she was like, you should like go, just we'll come get you when we're done. Okay. Type thing. But yeah, I mean, same. It ends up being the same. I'm assuming. Same result. Okay. Yeah.
So in talking with Gabe though, who's upset, he's essentially upset that like I'm a little kid, I couldn't handle these big things, I couldn't be there to protect Mariana. Similar to Javi's feelings, really, of, I couldn't have done something. I wasn't there to protect her. Kate was in need on the hospital. You left me there to take care of her, and then I ran away when it got scary. Like, and he kind of comes to this culmination of, I'm not a man, but I want to grow up. I need to be a man like my dad, that sort of thing. And so that's sort of where this conversation leaves him of, I need to grow up, I need to be more kind of thing. And in this conversation for me, I tried to encourage him and basically point out ways he's already grown up, but also be like, sure, we can keep going, there's more, it's not, like that kind of thing. I didn't want him to feel like I was like, finally you're growing up. Like I wanted to feel like, cool, you're making it there.
Same. Like, yeah, there's no reason to like dump salt on him as he's just got killed. His stepmom, important person at least, got like shot. Like, shit's crazy. In the apocalypse or whatever. Like, it's time to grow up. But like, I'm not gonna dump on you for not being, I don't know, a 20-year-old, 14-year-old. Like just whatever. Like, we'll get there. Right.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like just work with what we got now.
Yep.
After this, though, the New Frontier has shown up at the gates of Prescott.
Bummer. Oh, sorry. In my playthrough, like, Clement doesn't tell us about this this group, but like I think Trip does.
Okay.
So we like Javi hears about them. It's like, oh yeah, they're this group.
Okay, so Javi hears about them from Trip while you're back.
Yeah. So it's not like a shock that they are who they are. Whatever.
Okay. Cool. But they show up outside of the gates. They say that they want Javi because Javi was the reason that shootout happened, killed some of our friends, blah, blah, blah. And Javi's like, you started the shootout and you killed a little girl. So there's some arguments back and forth, but they also have Francine held hostage, who is Conrad's wife, who we met last episode. And they bring her out and they're like, we're going to kill her if you don't come out or give us Javi. And Clementine, Trip are on the wall with you and they're like, don't go out there, like, let's just fucking shoot them, basically. I think Clementine's big on team shoot them and Trip is not quite there, but I think would be in favor of it.
Yep. So at this point you kind of have the choice. Okay, do you surrender yourself and go out there and try to talk with them, or do you just start shooting at them? So what did did you do? What was your route?
So one thing that happened in here too is as you take time, they cut off one of Francine's fingers. I forget if it was with a knife or with like a bottle cap thing.
I didn't see that.
Oh.
I just went. Well, I'll give you my
Oh, okay. They like cut off one of her fingers.
bottle cap thing.
Like a bottle cap opener kind of thing. Like her finger gets put in the thing and then like the tip
Oh, like
of
a
it.
cigar opener?
Yeah,
Or
I think
cigar
that's
cutter?
what it was. Yeah.
Ah.
They put her finger in one and then cut off like half of her finger with it. And after they did that, I was like, okay, they're not actually going to play good. So I started shooting at them. And so a huge gun battle breaks up and it's a shit show. But once they cut her finger off, I was like, okay, they're not like... I don't think that I would be enough even... If I would be willing to give myself up, I don't think they would actually. I think they would say that's not enough and ask for another thing.
Yeah. That's reasonable. I ended up surrendering. Cause,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it seemed like... I mean, they suck and I was pissed. But it's like, I don't want anyone else to die. I don't want Clementine to die. I don't want Gabe to die. Kate's been injured. Like, this town's going to get fucked up. I'm just going to surrender. And part of this is video game logic where, like, I'm not going to die because I'm the main character of the game.
Sure.
But I'm going to surrender and maybe we can figure something out.
Okay.
That was kind of my thought. Someone was kind of cheap because, again, real life I wouldn't have done that. I would have probably shot them. But video game logic says, I'm not going to die here. So I'm going to go out there and see what happens.
Right.
So that's what I did. And I assume it ends the same way as yours where...
It goes to shit.
Yeah, fucking Francine dies, and then a bunch of shit happens. I didn't want to...
No.
A little spoiler.
No, yeah. Okay, so for mine, I'm guessing you surrendered right away since you didn't see the finger cut off thing.
Quickly, yeah.
Okay, so I was like trying to kind of weigh my options, and that's when they cut Francine's finger off. And before that, I did think about surrendering, but when they did that, I was like, no, they're not actually going to be reasonable.
Yeah, that's fair. I just surrendered, and I didn't really care. So it was like, well, either way.
No,
maybe
yeah.
We'll get out of something here, or they'll die anyway.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, that had me definitely tipped on the go shoot. But I would have, at first, though, it was like, they have a hostage. Okay, maybe we can... That was my initial incline. So for mine, all hell breaks loose because we start shooting. They start shooting. One of them like executes Francine immediately. And then they start shooting at the walls. We start shooting down at them. One of them drives a truck full of walkers through the gate.
Happens in mine too, yep.
And lets them out. And so then there's more chaos in the town. So wait, how does it go down for you with surrendering though?
I think Javi shoots someone.
Even though he surrendered?
Yeah, well, I think there's a point where you can, like, give up your guns. Or you can just... They're like... You end up talking with them, and they're like, all right, give us your guns, and you can be like, no. And I was like, no, and I shot someone.
Oh, so basically you're down there, but then you start shooting down there. And
yeah, and then they start... Like, it ends up being the same thing. It's like a firefight, but... It's,
weird that,
I mean, I guess either way, Francine died in mine. I assume she died in yours.
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't think there's a way around her getting killed.
Yeah, and then the truck of walkers they drive through the fucking gate, and then it's gone.
Yeah, no, yeah. They drive through the gate. All hell's kind of breaking loose. Like, things are on fire. New Frontier people are going around killing our people. They're, like, throwing fire bombs at the things inside there. Mm-hmm. Like, Prescott is no more. And in it, you're like trying to find your friends and escape. Ultimately, Javi, Clementine, Kate, Gabe, Tripp, Eleanor, and Conrad escape. It seems like everyone else at Prescott dies, or maybe they scatter elsewhere and we don't see them. But like,
not important characters. At least.
Yeah, it seems like basically everyone dies.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah, and in this escape, we've got 2 cars of people that escape. I think it's like 3 and 4 or something like that. So our crew escapes. After we escape and we get far enough away and discover no one else is following us, we try to decide what can we do. Like, Prescott's gone. We can't go home. Where do we go? And they start debating places, and Clementine suggests Richmond, which is a friendly settlement that's sort of nearby. And they think, well, if we could go there, perhaps we could minimally rest up. Kate's pretty hurt. So she really needs better medical attention. Like, having to be on the run right away. It's not good for her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need real medical equipment, that sort of shit.
Yeah, and she's not doing great. I mean, she's not, like, dead by any means, but yeah, another doctor and some rest would be pretty adequate for her.
No, and she's doing bad enough that she thinks she'll die. So there's, like, conversations that she has with Javi, like, you're going to have to raise Gabe and, like, you know, make him grow up. I know you can do it. And you're like, you're going to be there too. Or
Yeah,
at least
like,
that's what I did.
Yeah, the same. It's like, it's not that bad yet. I mean, you had surgery, the bullet's gone. You're, like, kind of fine. I mean, it's not good. Like, there's some blood and shit, but far better than it was, you know, before she got help from Eleanor.
In mine, she looks pretty rough.
And mine,
Like,
she's decent. I mean, I guess it's rough, but it's not like... I guess I've seen enough stuff in video games where I'm like, you're probably fine, but...
I wonder if yours is different because you went to the surgery.
I wonder, yeah.
Because
I was there to help.
In mine, Kate's, like, just propped up against the wall, like, looks pretty sweaty. Like, she's not looking great.
Yeah, I mean, she's
like,
not, like, great in mine either, but...
Like, she's not, like, on the verge of death or looks gray.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't look too great. Like, I don't think she could get out and walk or anything like that. Like, she's pretty fucked up looking in mine.
That's fair. She's not great in mine either, but... I guess maybe it's, like, subjective.
Yeah.
Like, I'm viewing it like, she's fine, but... Maybe it's the same exact thing. I don't know.
No, yeah, it's possible.
I just thought she was being kind of dramatic.
Sure.
But, I mean,
that's fair. Yeah. For mine, I was just... I think that, too, my thought was if she thinks she can't make it, like... That's important. Just because it does seem like in real life, in terms of people surviving weird things, if you don't believe, you're much more likely to not survive. But if you do, sometimes those people pull through.
Yeah.
Through, like, weird things that they maybe shouldn't, but they, like, believe they can. She instead seems the opposite. Like, when she was talking, she felt like she was trying to, like, pass the reins on and be like, you can do this, I believe in you. And like, no, I believe in you, you're going to stay here and we're going to do this. Like, that's how I tried to talk with her. But
that's fair.
Either way, we need a place. She needs a spot to recover. We really need a group or a place to regroup and all of that. So Richmond ultimately becomes our location.
Yep.
And we drive for a while, and we end up reaching a blocked tunnel. And so you've got to do, I guess, your stereotypical Telltale puzzle of, like, okay, you found, like, the three objects and you connect them together and it makes a thing happen. In this case, it's that you link a cable to a generator and then to a car and it, like, pulls it.
Yep.
To unblock the path of this tunnel. But
it's loud.
But it's loud, and there are a bunch of walkers inside of the tunnel, which is probably why it was blocked.
Probably.
And a bunch of walkers come on through. And in this, Eleanor and Kate are in one car, and Eleanor just zooms off down the tunnel. We're like, go to Richmond, get Kate there, like, we'll figure it out. So they do that. Meanwhile, we're fighting walkers along the way. Our car is still, I think, attached or near, like, the cable thing. And so our car basically gets ruined and left behind. So we have to continue on foot.
Yep.
Which involves, like, jumping up on a dumpster to jump onto a roof. It's a little intense.
Yep. Lots of parkour, but not really parkour. Avoiding walkers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Telltale shit.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
for sure. For sure.
Not in a bad way, but just how it goes.
Yeah. Yep. You do all manage to escape, though. So it's Javi, Clementine, Gabe, Tripp, and Conrad who are together on this. And we manage to get up on top of whatever was nearby. Platform, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a... I don't even know how to describe... Like a fire escape type thing, but not. Like,
yeah.
But in a tunnel idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so we get up there. But then once we get up there, I'm like, okay, we're safe from the walkers. We got to figure out, like, how to get to Richmond. We notice that there's a guy up the way, maybe like a building and a half length up. essentially, on sort of like a roof overlooking us from like a wall kind of thing.
Suspicious.
Yeah, suspicious dude spying on us. And so we're like, all right, was this like a trap set for us? And, let's go try to figure out who this person is. Are they New Frontier? What's going on? So Javi goes to sneak ahead. And he sneaks up, and he gets there, and he thinks he's got the person held up, but really it's just a jacket and hat. And then the guy shows up behind Javi, puts a gun to his head, and is like, hey, I'm going to need you to drop your gun. But then Clementine shows up behind that guy, and is like, no, you're going to need to drop your gun.
The old fucking switcheroo.
Yeah, that was fun, the triple switch or whatever.
Yeah.
So nice work, Clem. Clem knows what's up. And so this guy ends up saying, hey, I'm good. I'm not bad. I didn't hurt you. This is evidence that I'm good, essentially, because, I could have just hurt all of you if I wanted, but I didn't. But I need to be able to talk to you. Your group is obviously tense right now. I'm looking for people, and, talking to tense people isn't really great because they might just try to kill you because they think you did something bad. And he's actually pretty reasonable, even though this circumstance is rather crazy. And so you have the opportunity to trust this guy. If you watch the TV show or are familiar with the comic, Jesus, he looks just like him. If you've watched either of those, you'd recognize him right away. Mm-hmm. And so our question here is, did you trust Jesus? Which is hilarious.
You asking me?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I trusted Jesus. My guy, dude. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the show. Yep, trusted him.
Yeah.
I it's hard to say why, other than I just have seen the show and I know he's a good dude, trustworthy character.
Yep.
His name's Jesus too, so it's kind of like rock on, man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny. God,
yeah.
What a ridiculous character.
Yeah, literally looks just like, I guess, how we would see Jesus. Probably not obviously Jesus isn't white, but
right.
This guy's white with a beard and long brown hair.
That stereotypical picture of Jesus.
Yeah,
is
for
certainly
sure.
This guy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, same thing. Same as you though. I trusted him as well, and again, same reason. I've seen the show, so I knew him, and so I'm like, that's Jesus. He looks like him. Jesus has an outfit. Mm-hmm. And this is that outfit, and you're like, all right, I know you.
And to be fair, his reasoning did make sense. In the video game, kind of removed from what we know about him, is okay, that's fair. Clementine has a gun to you anyway. Worst case scenario, you get killed anyway, and we listen to you. Whatever.
Right. Yeah. His logic. I agree. His logic was good, but being familiar informed this, and 86% of people chose to trust him as well. 14% didn't, so I suspect a lot of those people are also familiar with Jesus from the TV show or comic.
So 86% of people have played this game, have seen the TV show. 14% have not.
That would be my guess.
Yep.
Or maybe they just didn't recognize him.
Or just wanted to see what happened if he didn't.
Yeah. So I think what happens basically here is if you trust him, you'll let him walk free. If you don't, you'll bind his hands.
Yep.
And what he tells you is that there's a tunnel kind of behind you, a train tunnel. He says, oh, this is one that people haven't traveled this for a while, but it should be clear, and it goes straight to Richmond, so this would probably be a lot easier way to get where you want to go. And actually, I'm trying to go to Richmond too, so let's go together. And you're like, all right, this doesn't seem like it's a trap. I'll roll with you.
Yep.
So inside the tunnel, you go there, you start going through the tunnel, and Jesus asks you why you're going to Richmond, and he asks you what side you're on. And we're like, what do you mean side? What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And Jesus tells us that
Richmond's
New Frontier has taken over Richmond.
Yep.
Which isn't good.
Yeah, not great at all.
Not great. That apparently there's a conflict that's fairly big that New Richmond could be taken over, or that Richmond could be taken over by the New Frontier, and that they're in a conflict with someone else. So that's kind of a big deal that something like that's going on. But I think we're kind of hopeful that either maybe Jesus' info is wrong and that New Frontier isn't there still, or if they are, that we still need to get Kate and Eleanor back.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a twofold.
And maybe they'll be reasonable and not know about what happened in...
At Prescott.
Yeah, or right before Prescott, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we start walking there. And a little while into this walk, Clementine confides in Javi and says, hey, you know how we talked about New Frontier before? I wasn't exactly honest with you. I know them because I was one of them. It wasn't just that I stayed with them for a little bit. And you get this flashback of Clementine running with AJ, and they go and hide in like a RV camper thing from walkers outside, and a woman named Ava ends up essentially jumping into their hiding spot too. And she talks to him, and Clementine's, I think, suspect a little bit. Just that's kind of how Clementine is.
She's also younger, though.
Yeah.
So she's probably less aware of the world and how people work and the apocalypse, that kind of shit.
Yeah, maybe not as hardened as she is now.
Yeah.
But Ava's pretty nice to her and is like, you'd have walls. There are kids. I think we could get medicine or formula for AJ, things like that. And so Clementine's like, oh, all right, I guess I could come back once to kind of see. So we can kind of see that Clementine didn't join this group to just murder people or something, but that...
For help with AJ.
Yeah, help with AJ. And she doesn't mention AJ to Javi, but we know that that's why.
Well, it's a flashback, so
yeah,
we see it.
We see it, but I don't think that...
And we also know AJ, because...
And we know AJ because we played the other game.
Yeah.
But that Javi doesn't know about AJ yet. But Clementine does express, like, they provided food and things like that, and so I need to do it because I need to survive. And Javi's a little upset, but he also gets it. From here, you end up arriving at a train car that's stuck in the tunnel, and a bunch of walkers show up, so you have to run through to the train car to kind of escape. And you make it through. Jesus and Trip go on ahead, and then you, Gabe, Conrad, and Clementine manage to bar the tunnel, or the train car's door, to be able to stop walkers from following you. And you do that, but then Conrad holds Gabe hostage. He puts a gun on him and says, I heard what you and Clementine were talking about, that she's New Frontier, that she's bad. I have a plan that we can use her, since she was New Frontier, but she's not anymore. We could maybe trade her back to them to be able to get the help we want. We can't trust her. She's bad.
At this point, you choose, like, are you going to go with Conrad's plan and be like, all right, Clementine, says we're going to sell you out, or you can disagree and resolve it yourself.
Yes.
And how that looks is you shoot Conrad, you kill him, or you agree to his plan and agree to sell Clementine out. So what'd you do?
I shot Conrad.
Why? I guess it's kind of self-explanatory, but
I think it's because I know Clementine. I don't know Conrad.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. I know Clementine, so sorry, guy.
Yeah, same. Like,
I think I would have shot anyone. Like, it didn't have to be Conrad. It could have been Trip. It could have been Jesus. Whatever.
Yeah.
I would have shot all of them. Even knowing Jesus from the comic, or from the TV show, I think I'd still shoot him for Clementine.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. Yes and no, I might have. I just couldn't see Trip or Jesus doing something like that, based on what we know about them.
I don't think they would do that either.
Yeah.
But
I guess that's fair.
Just, it wasn't necessarily that Conrad specific. Like, I didn't want to shoot Conrad
the
before
person
this.
being, like, sold out was the real thing.
Someone trying to sell out Clementine.
What if Gabe was trying to do it?
I'd maybe shoot Gabe.
Oh, wow.
Probably.
Oh, wow.
I guess Javi wouldn't. I guess I would.
Yeah, that's where, like, it's difficult for me.
And I think that was something hard with this decision. Which I guess we'll talk about more later, but...
Yeah. Yeah, we will.
I don't think that there's a way I'd sell Clementine out.
Yeah, as I shot him too. That's I killed Conrad for similar reasons, I think, but one, because it was Clementine, but two, because she confided in us and was like clearly not part of that anymore. So there was no reason to like had more reason to trust her than Conrad. If he was gonna do something that grimy, it was like you would do that with me or Gabe or Kate at some point. It was like, you got to go. So that was kind of my reasoning. Was like,
that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't care who you're trying to sell back into whatever, who you're trying to sell out. Like, the fact that you would do it makes me question you. And I'd rather trust Clementine than you, because clearly she's not bad. She's saved our life and been helpful and honest. Like, you've been not that. So, sorry, man.
That's a good point. And also, she's been getting shot at by them. So,
yes. I feel like they'd just kill her and be done with it. Right.
They've shot at her multiple times at this point. So that's a good point. Versus, sure, Conrad got shot at Prescott when everyone did. And you could say that for Clementine too, but Clementine's got shot at outside of that.
Yeah.
I think also for Conrad, you can feel for him. He's obviously, his wife got killed like 6 hours ago or something. So like, I get it. That sucks. I think that this was just ill played. This shouldn't have been a decision because of. We'll get to it, but
even that, like, why would you try to sell out someone to the bad guys that killed your wife? I feel like you'd want to kill them all. It just kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, not that he was lying, but it's like, you should want to kill them too. Like, you should be on Clementine's side. And she left.
And he said that before. He wanted to kill them.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
You're gonna make a deal with them now? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just was like, yeah. Nah, sorry, man. You should go be with your wife.
Yeah. So
dead.
He got shot. He's dead.
Yep.
89% of people did this. So super common.
Yeah.
11% of people went along with Conrad's plan. So we leave the train tunnel, and it's just Javi and Gabe. At this point, Clementine, after we kill Conrad, is like, yeah, I'm going to just kind of leave because I can't get seen by the New Frontier. And I think she'd expressed before Conrad had tried to do this that she was going to leave before that because she can't be seen by them.
Yep. She was very hesitant to go back and join up. Yep, get stuck there. Captured.
Yeah, and so I was like, that's fine. I get it. Like, I'm not going to... You've got history. I understand.
Yeah, which is a bummer because Clementine's gone.
Right,
so
I know.
It goes back to last episode. We were like, why?
Yeah, I hope she rejoins, but I don't.
I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that. So
no spoilers there.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah, we do not know. But we get to the end of the tunnel, and Jesus and Trip. The tumble. Yeah, we somersault our way out, and then arrive, and Jesus and Trip say, "What are you doing?" No, Jesus and Trip are there though. They ask what happened. You say that Conrad went kind of crazy and tried to kidnap Clementine, so we had to kill him. So we were honest about it, and then we say that Clementine left, that she was done being a part of this. And they're like, "Well, that sucks," but we continue on, and we go a little further, and we find the car, and Kate is actually still inside of it, and again, not looking great.
No.
Looking probably worse than before. But she tells us that Eleanor has run ahead to go to Richmond. And we're like, okay, well, we've got to continue on foot. We got to get you there. And we arrive at the wall, and it is, in fact, the New Frontier. They're on the wall. The guys that we yelled at earlier and shot with are still there.
Yeah, they're not great.
They're not great. You have sort of them on the wall pointing their guns down at you down there. Your next sort of decision that comes up is how do you get inside of Richmond. So they tell you to drop your weapons, and you can choose to do it or not. I surrendered to our weapons. We don't have a choice.
Yeah, I surrendered too. Yeah. I didn't try not to, but I assume they make you anyway, or you end up doing it.
I think I imagine you do anyway. I wonder if it's just maybe a little more violent. Maybe they come down there more aggressively or something.
Yeah, but, it's kind of not a real decision.
It's not a real decision. I'm surprised it was a thing at all. 96% of people surrendered to it. 4% of people refused to disarm themselves.
Probably got disarmed.
Yeah, I
I'm
assume
gonna
that.
watch that later and see what happens.
I assume that has to be what happens. Is if they were like, drop your weapons, they're like, sure. There was a part where they tell you to all lay on the ground, and me as Javi was like, they will, but I'm not going to. I'm holding Kate up, or I think he's carrying her. He's like, I'm not going to lay down.
Yeah, she's
I'm holding a injured
holding a
woman.
human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the leader walks out of the group and says, "What the fuck's going on?" And it's David
Yep. Kate's husband, if you don't remember.
and Gabe's dad.
Yep.
And they all have that reaction. Gabe's like, "Dad."
Like, what the fuck?
Kate's like, "David." Javi's like, "David," and it's like,
Yep.
game over or episode over. So
Cliffhanger for sure.
Cliffhanger for sure. So okay, moving to some general thoughts on this episode. I think the big thing, and we talked about it a little bit along the way, is I think these decisions really hurt by knowing who Clementine and Jesus were.
Yep.
So I looked it up, and Jesus actually appeared on the show in February 2016, and this game came out December 2016. So we'd actually met Jesus. I wasn't sure if the first time we played we had met him. I couldn't remember. I thought we knew, but I wasn't for sure. So I looked it up.
I remember that.
We did know Jesus, so we're like, cool, Jesus. I know him from the show.
Was this delayed at all? I forget.
No. So this one, Ties That Bind Part 1 and 2, both coming out December 2016. Then the next one didn't come out till March. So episode 3's March, and then the rest are, I think, March, April, May.
So either way, it would have been after.
Yeah, no matter what, we would have met Jesus on the TV show first. And because...
Well, I guess it's potentially they could have started developing this game and planned out this episode before the episode aired on TV.
Sure.
Potentially. I'd be shocked if they didn't check with the TV show.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty surprised.
I would.
Kirkman's, behind both.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, you're right. They should know.
Yes, they should.
They should know that we would meet him. I feel like the only way that would maybe work is if this would have come out before they ever got to that part of the show, but
then it wouldn't have been... What's the point of even introducing him as a character? Why not just make a random guy,
Yeah, I think a random guy probably would have been more effective. But then also, obviously, Clementine. Like, we know Clementine from the 2 previous seasons. By nature, I think if you would want to buy Season 3, that means you'd like Season 1 and 2, and presumably like Clementine. So you would defer towards her. So this one has me pretty confused as to what Telltale was thinking. Like, were they hoping that this game would just bring a bunch of new fans who didn't, for some reason, play Season 1 and 2, that don't watch the TV show? Like...
Just foolish, if that's the case.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, me too. I don't get it. Because, like... having 2 major decisions that involve characters we would probably be predisposed to know and like, and having ones that are moral quandaries as to whether you'd like them or not, very weird.
Yeah, and so I have 2 thoughts. This goes into one of my feedbacks too, of like, it's really hard to not choosing Clem's favor because we played Season 1, Season 2, and Season 4, which I'm not going to spoil. So it's really hard not to always do pro Clem. It feels out of character for me to choose, like, for Javi's family versus Clementine because of all the things we played. That said, I'm still glad I chose to go with Kate at the beginning of, end of last episode. But yeah, all that said, it is kind of weird. Like, I wonder if what they were going for was like a tie into the TV show. Like, oh, there's fucking Jesus. That's awesome. But in doing so, you kind of take away from some of the appeal of Telltale, which is like, choose something good and something good, and either way you're going to get fucked. Like, I feel like they should have done like a choice that didn't involve Jesus,
right?
Or didn't involve Clementine, or should never do a choice that involves Clementine in this season. Because if you play the first 2, you're just you're gonna choose her most likely, unless you're trying to actually play as Javi would play, which, to be honest, I wouldn't do unless I'm, trying to do it for this podcast or whatever. Like, normally I would just play and be like, pro Clementine, fuck my family, as Javi, because I have 2 seasons of Clementine and 2 episodes of as you guys. Like,
Right.
don't care. Not comparable.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I agree. And I feel like that goes with... So last episode, I think something we mentioned a couple times, where there were several decisions that were, 50-50, 60-40, sign of a good decision. These ones obviously went really the other way. 86% of people chose to trust Jesus. 89% of people killed Conrad to protect Clementine. Like, those are the opposite of good decisions. Those shouldn't have even been choices based on how strongly they went. And also surrendering the weapons.
And then in the first decision was 60-40 to stay out of the argument with Kate and David. Like, not related to any of this other stuff. Like, that's still, like, kind of split, sort of.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, but it's not related to what you're talking about. So,
or the
yes.
even to shoot was what, like 60-40 about?
59-40 and 1. So even that's like, but that's not related either. That's like pretty split. Yeah, but you're right. The things that involve Clementine and like Jesus, things we know about or have known about, not they're it's weighted for sure.
Yeah, a major botch. And I guess even to emphasize this major botch more is going back to season 2, we have that spot where we've been friends with Luke and then we meet Kenny and there's the who do you sit at lunch with or who do you trust, who do you back? And you feel the tension there. And I think that's an example of doing it right. So you knew Kenny, but Kenny's not doing great when you meet him in season 2 again. He's not as well, but then before that, you've met Luke in the gang, and Luke's pretty cool.
I remember playing the first time I played that with like Luke was like, I remember even we played that together and we were talking like Luke's fucking sweet. Mm-hmm. We met Kenny and we're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Which way to be? I remember that being a really big decision we made, which they did that well because it shouldn't be. It should just be one or the other and whatever.
Right. Versus this is obviously really.
Yeah. You have to try to choose not Clem. Like, for us, but I had to, I'm going to explicitly not choose Clementine, because that's how I'm trying to play this game. Right. As opposed to, what do I want to do? Clementine.
That's good that we're playing those different ways. I'm definitely just choosing what I want.
Yeah, which is, that's how I would do if I just wasn't like, I'm playing as, Javi, by the books Javi.
Yeah, I'm trying to play by Javi, but Dan overrides for sure when it comes to Clementine.
Well, Javi is Dan technically.
Yeah,
in your game,
yeah.
My game, Javi is Javi.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, I think that was something that was pretty disappointing, though, in this episode of that. Like, I don't know what the fuck they wanted to do. So, I guess another thing for this, I don't know if you had this is a weird thing, but this episode was pretty glitchy for me. I had multiple times where the episode got stuck and froze for a little bit.
Like froze, or you got stuck on a rock, or
the frames froze and the dialogue continued. Or
I didn't really have that.
It was weird. It glitched more times than probably any games I have played. I'm not even one for noticing or trying to find glitches. I don't want to find that. I don't want to see it. I don't even really care that much. But it was weird. It happened multiple times. Enough that I was like, fuck, I hope the game doesn't kick me out or I have to quit and come back. Yeah. It felt like that, which was bizarre.
Well, you're on a PS4, right?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. PS4 suck.
Aren't you on a PS4?
Nope.
Oh, you are on an Xbox for this, aren't you?
I'm kidding. PS4's thumbs up, way better. But yeah, I didn't have that, not because
I wonder if it's a PS4 glitch.
Maybe, or you just happened to get unlucky. I wonder if it just lagged and...
Yeah, it was weird though. Just happened several times in one episode. It didn't happen in the first episode, so I'm hoping it's confined to this one.
I've had that in other things, other games that wouldn't expect. I'm trying to think of an example, but... Yeah, there's been times I've been playing the game and kind of lags for a second and sound continues. And fast forwards catches up. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of what it was like?
Yeah, it never kicked me out though. It never shut off on me, which was good.
Yeah.
But that was weird. So I guess actually I have a third thing I'll just jump to too.
Sure.
But the thing I am excited about though is I'm looking forward to the next episode because I remembered those key decisions involving Jesus and Conrad. slash Clem in that. I remembered those. That was all I really remembered from this. But now I'm like, I don't know if I know what the hell happens at all in these next 3 episodes. I have some mild memories or guesses, but they're much hazier. Like, I feel like I remember these 2 episodes significantly more. And so I think that's something. And so I am pretty excited for the following episodes and getting to experience those, because I think those are going to especially feel like first time again. And I hope we don't get much more of decisions in this realm that were non-decisions. I'm hopeful for that, and I think adding David to the mix will be interesting, because I do think as Javi, I am going to want to be pro my brother as much as I can. I mean, when it comes to Clementine, I think that would be harder too, but, if that comes up. But, I don't know. I'm excited for what's forward. This episode I was not very in on because of those things we've talked about, but I am excited to see what's next.
Yeah, that's fair. And as I'm, reading the things I put down for general thoughts, I don't want to say them because they might be spoilers ahead.
Oh.
Not real spoilers. I mean, all I'll say is David reminds me of David from Life is Strange to some extent. Which, well, I'll put this back in next week or 2 weeks, whenever we get more David. But yeah, I do not remember this either. I remember David being in this again, but I don't remember anything else except for one more thing I'm not going to say to spoil it. But yeah, I feel like this episode was not a whole lot happened. Maybe I feel like that because the decisions were kind of inconsequential for me. I mean, like we already talked about, it was like half of them were decisions and half of them were not real decisions, but I chose to make them decisions because I wanted to play a different way.
Right.
But yeah, I'm interested to see the specifics of how things play out because I do not remember. I remember kind of broadly the next episode or 2, but I don't remember fine detail points or plot points or what happens or who's who and shit like that. So I'm excited to see that, and I think just even introducing David at the end of this episode was oh fuck yeah, that's right. It's just gonna get kind of weird now,
right?
Because you throw in Gabe, you throw in Kate, you throw in Javi. That's, I mean, family's been a theme throughout this. Mm-hmm. And for me, I've tried to choose for family. And for you, I know, not that you've tried to not choose for it, but you've kind of been pro Clementine, and now she's kind of gone, MIA.
Right.
So it's going to get interesting, I think, for both of us.
Yep.
Because how do you support a guy that is leading the really fucked up place that's killing people and taking over towns? It's kind of hard to redeem that, So I think I'm excited to see kind of how this shakes out and plays out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think too, I guess maybe in fairness to this episode, so if you'd played part 1 and part 2 the day they came out, because they came out at the same time, if you took these 2 episodes as one whole story, and I feel like especially if those non-decisions with what we've talked about weren't a part of this, I think that kind of boosts it, right? So if it's, okay, you meet the Garcia family, Mariana gets killed, you found a place to stay, but then it's destroyed. It's destroyed by the bad people, and you have to beg them for mercy, and then their leader's David. That's pretty good. That's
good point.
That's pretty cool. As a whole, if I don't think we played both at the same night when they came out. I bet we played one and then played the next one a week later or something. But if you'd stayed up, that day or whatever, and you're cool, I'm just gonna play both. And
it's a good point.
I think as a whole experience, cool. I'm down with that. I like that as a concept. That doesn't make the trust Jesus or the not trust try to sell out Clementine decisions better. Those suck. There's no way around them.
I'm not going to do it.
But I think that whole journey of a thing is cool. And I think leaving with David, that's a good reveal. And I think that specifically does have me pretty pumped for next episode. Because I'm all right, I don't know what this is going to mean for anyone. I'm guessing that Kate will be able to get medical attention and David will want that. That's good. But what does this mean for Trip or Eleanor? they're not our people at large, but there are people now, or Jesus, like we're down with them. They're not David's family, so David doesn't have to care about them. He'll probably care about Gabe and us and Kate, though, since we were his family. I assume he will.
Maybe not Javi. I mean, he's been like kind of hostile,
Yeah, maybe not Javi. Maybe just Gabe and Kate. So that can present, like you said, some interesting family stuff. And yeah, how bad are these people? I mean, they're bad enough to attack Prescott, which is bad.
And just, I guess in your game, cut off someone's finger.
Yeah,
because they're trying to get something they want. Like,
that's pretty bad.
That's not good.
Yeah, good guys don't tend to do that.
No, they wouldn't just do. They would like reason with you and then talk, and not just try to take over your town.
I guess. Well, okay.
We're talking about Rick here.
I was gonna say TV show. Would Rick do that? And I'd say sometimes some Ricks would.
Well, it depends on the bad guy. Well, it depends on the people they've already interacted. Like, are we talking like Governor? After 2 seasons of that, yes. Are we talking about Negan after a season of that? Yes. But initially, probably not.
They're because sometimes when Rick, after things have been bad, he can be kind of crazy and want to kill everyone. Yeah. Like he like the cops that he was like, let's just kill them all, and they're like, maybe we shouldn't just kill these people, and he's like, no, they did something I don't like, we should kill them. So sometimes Rick does edge that way.
Okay, fair point.
But that's I have the beholder. We like Rick, and so we're more tolerant of him fucking up versus the governor doing something like that, or Negan, or David potentially. We might say, no, fuck that guy, he's bad.
We also gotta look at the whole resume, know? Like, I guess David, we don't really know much about him. We've just seen
that he's an asshole.
The season 1 prequel type thing where he's mean and fights Javi. Beginning of this episode, he's like antagonistic and kind of just aggressive. But other than that, we don't really know. He could be a great dude. He just has an anger problem. Like, we don't know that.
That's true. Yeah. We don't know for sure. He's certainly an asshole, and potentially more, but he's also not verifiably a bad guy, because he wasn't on those missions where his people were killing people. Like, maybe he's pissed about that too.
Yeah, we don't know.
Or he's totally fine with it. We're not sure.
Yeah, and I don't remember. Yeah, but that is a good point though about like if you take the first 2 episodes of season 1, 2, and 3, this might be the first or the best first 2 episodes of of any season. Like, if we, you take out Jesus and Clementine and knowing them, like,
right,
a lot of shit happens. Drama, decent choices. If you didn't know Clementine and Jesus, like that's pretty decent. I think it is kind of, it suffers from knowing we know too much,
Yeah.
And I guess the first time especially expected something different than we got.
Right.
So this time I'm not suffering from expectation. I'm suffering more from like, well, I just know some of these characters already, like Clementine and Jesus. I know what happens in the future. I know what happens from the episodes we've seen on TV, that kind of shit. Like,
right.
It taints some of this to some extent.
Yeah.
Granted, we're playing 5 years later, so
right.
It's kind of fair.
Right.
But whatever.
Right. I think that it tainted it then and it taints it now is just the thing that's not good. Like, I think it does really save itself as being a 2-parter and considering it that way. As a 1-parter, this episode alone, I feel like could be one of the worst Walking Dead episodes because of those things like we've talked about. But as a whole, that is good. I think ultimately, though, it's going to get us where there's some good stuff. It's given us enough, I think, that, like, yeah, I'm pretty eager. And I feel like I expect that next time coming back and being like, man, this thing was cool about episode 3. Like, that's my expectation. And so I feel like, hopefully it doesn't feel like we're just dogging on this episode for the sake of it.
Yeah, we're not trying to.
I think more it's just that I feel like they must have not known what they wanted exactly. Because, like, which I guess is the whole fucking thing of this season anyway, of that, like, shouldn't it have just been a Clementine-focused game, or like, done a separate thing entirely, like, not included Clementine. Like, if this episode didn't have Clementine, if this season didn't have Clementine in it at all, and it was someone else who was a part of New Frontier, and they confided in you, that decision would be a bit harder. Because you're like, I don't know, I just met you, you confided in me, but, this or that, or Jesus meeting him, there's a dude spying on us.
Mm-hmm.
I think those would have been way harder with randos.
For sure.
But yeah, those notions though. So I think they probably tried to choose both.
Yeah, which is fair. And I guess this is kind of very broad. Yeah, we'll never just shit on a game or an episode of anything unless it's just really bad. Like, we'll never just be really negative or cynical about something. Like, we'll be objective as much as we can. And like this, like, I think this episode was fun. It was good. But yeah, suffered from, we just know too much. And we've seen the future because we played the future. And we know the past because we played the past. So it's kind of, it's difficult to kind of to play both. Well, be in the middle of both.
I feel like without the future, though, it's still rough. Without the future. So, like...
Oh, like with Clementine?
Or with Jesus. Because Jesus, we saw him on the TV show. We watched
him. Good point. Yes.
We watched Jesus on the TV show 8 months before this ever came out.
Yeah, I guess the future. You're right. The future doesn't matter. It's more the past.
It's just the past of like that. I like The Walking Dead, and I played this, and because I'm familiar with The Walking Dead, inside the games and outside of the games.
Yeah.
So it's just weird because like, did they think that this game would be the gateway for new Walking Dead fans? Like, what the hell?
If they did, that's pretty foolish.
It's so wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
because before this, I did look this up. I don't know time frame wise, but before this, the Walking Dead Michonne game came out, which we actually have not played, but someday we'll probably play. But that came out, and so I could see that one being a gateway thought, right? Oh, cool. People like Michonne in the TV show. There's this game, they could play that. This could be their way to get into the Telltale games because they know there's a character they know will be there. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. I get it. Cool with it. I don't know how or why they thought that this would do this as their next move. Like, just make a Garcia Javi game or make a Clem one. But the fact that they tried to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like a botch in that.
Yeah,
but,
trying to do too much, it seems like.
Yeah, but again, as we have said, Clementine's gone, seemingly here. I think this is going to give us a lot of opportunity to invest in these new situations. And so that has me pretty excited, and especially not knowing. So I feel like this is all going to feel pretty new.
Yeah, that's fair. Like the next three episodes.
Yeah, I think the next 3 episodes will largely feel new. There might be a few times where I'm like, oh, I remember that when it happens. Mm-hmm. But really, otherwise, though, it feels pretty blank. And feeling like you're getting new Walking Dead content is cool. Because, I always do want more. I'm into it. And so
there's not unlimited content at this point,
Right. So that is cool. And I think that will be good here. And I'm hoping... I don't even remember what happens to Jesus. So that makes me think that he must just fuck off at the beginning of next episode.
Probably. Just watch that too. Fuck it.
He's like, see ya.
Ruin everything. Yeah.
He just leaves or something because I don't remember anything. But also
he might actually.
He probably does.
Bet you $1 he does. You want to take that bet?
Well, I think he does too.
I bet you $1 he doesn't. I bet you he leaves midway through the next episode. At the earliest. So over under.
I bet he leaves right at the beginning.
Okay. $1. Shake on it.
All right.
We're shaking right now.
We're shaking. Yeah. So the audio handshake. So I'm betting he leaves right away in the first scene or two. You're guessing halfway or later.
Yep.
In the first episode.
Well, all right. So I'll give you before midway.
Okay. So
you're saying right at the beginning, but I'll give you up until.
So I get
halfway.
Until Decision 3. Is that halfway?
Fuck. All right. How about this? We'll play the episode, and then we'll count the average time of it, and then I'll give you till the midway point. If he leaves before that, you win. I'll get after that. How's that?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. Cool.
So midway point or Decision 3.
Sure. Depending on the
I mean, I guess if they go in rapid succession either way, maybe the actual midway. But
yeah,
I think he'll be gone in the first half.
Okay. I think he'll be there.
But
okay.
But yeah, I don't think we'll have any more preconceived notions. I think that would be good.
You're probably right, but
Yeah, I
don't remember,
actually have
but
no idea.
I don't either, but I feel like they'll do that.
Because I don't remember anything that makes me think that he must just leave right away.
Yeah, because he's a pretty memorable character. I mean, he's literally named Jesus, looks like Jesus. So
and
it's kind of hard to...
Well, and like, there probably aren't decisions that involve him because you'd think you'd remember them again.
Or you just already...
Which I'm glad if there's not,
Yeah.
because I don't really want him a part of the story.
Yeah, like, why would they pit him against any family member? I feel like you just choose for their family.
Right.
No matter what, you know? It just makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm hoping he'll just be gone.
Yeah.
But
okay, yeah, cool. Makes sense.
Anyway, that was kind of long-winded thoughts tangent on The Walking Dead at large. But all in all, though, I am looking forward to next episode. And yeah, I guess that's all I really got here. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, same. Me too. Yeah. Again, don't dislike this episode. I think we both like it. There's just some. We're excited to play more of it. I think is like the main point we're trying to get across here is like next 3 episodes will be great, assuming things go well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely am excited to see what they bring.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's all I got. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
Cool.
I'm good.
All right. Well, we will wrap here then. So, yeah, that is the end of episode 2 from New Frontier. If you want to talk more about New Frontier, if you've got theories, if these things bothered you, I'd like to hear it. Or if they didn't, I'd actually really like to hear that too. Because this preconceived notion, what do you know, that kind of stuff, that'd be pretty interesting. Yeah, if you want to get in contact with us, you can do that on Twitter at StoryEverPod. Our website's TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed.com. We've got all the Walking Dead episodes on there. Season 1, 2, and 4 are all there, among a bunch of other games too. So check that out. If you'd like, our Patreon is patreon.com/TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed. For as little as $1 per month, that will get you access to monthly bonus episodes we do. So that covers things like we ranked the Life is Strange episodes. We talked about our favorite Telltale Walking Dead characters. We talked about our favorite games from childhood, stuff like that. So if that sounds like something you'd like, go check that out. We'd super appreciate that. If you can't financially support the podcast, that's cool. We get that. It would be really helpful if you'd want to rate and review us on Apple Podcast or wherever you get podcasts. Share it with a friend. Really, anything would be cool just to, I don't know, really be able to share these games with more people. I think that's something that's pretty cool about games, is getting to share these experiences together. So if you'd want to do that, we'd appreciate it. And yeah, that's our episode, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.